My name is Jackie Ochoa, and this is my video on professional dispositions. So the role of educators for me personally has a lot to do with adaptability and a willingness to adapt. This can be shown in various different forms. One of the most common ones can definitely be the supporting of learning and how that's done in the classroom. And going on that, the most common form is including different learning styles. So for example, not just having your class in a lecture style, but having activities that cater to the different learning styles. And this in itself ends up affecting the planning and practice of education. And so over time, we improve as educators because we're constantly seeking out new ways to educate our students in diverse, different ways. This also ends up upholding professional expectations in the sense that we are constantly seeking improvement, which is one of the main standards for educators. And through collaboration, we can also learn a lot of these different pedagogy. I was struggling with that word for a moment, but pedagogies that can help foster and improve learning in the classroom. So as far as dispositions that I have, I know I'm very passionate about cultural awareness and respect for the diversity in classrooms. Classrooms are extremely diverse. They come from different social backgrounds, different racial and cultural backgrounds, and a lot of that does affect the classroom community in the sense. So every class period is going to be very different based on the students that are in it and what they're bringing to the table. So that, going back to the first question, means that we need to constantly adapt to cater to the different needs based on the different group of students that are needing different things. For me personally, I know that while I'm very caring and compassionate, I like to think so anyways, I do need to work on my professional conduct, especially considering that I'm considered a young teacher and I'm going into secondary education. So I know there is definitely that fine line between being involved in students' lives, but also making sure that they recognize me as an adult and an educator and someone that needs to be respected. Aside from the racial diversity, I also feel very, very passionate about promoting curiosity in the classroom. I definitely feel that when students are more involved, they tend to be more curious. So allowing a space for students to be curious, to ask these questions without feeling like they're asking something dumb or feeling like they're a bother to you. I think that's very important in order to keep them engaged and keep them active in the community. Adding on to that, personal biases are super important in the sense that they do affect not just our day-to-day lives, but especially the classroom setup and interactions with students. So I personally believe that educators should be addressing their personal biases prior to entering the education field, but apart from that they should definitely check in on themselves and their personal biases while in the education field. Times are always changing and there are always new biases that we didn't realize that we had that end up coming up. So if we're going to be upholding these professional dispositions, we need to have respect for diversity, and that can't happen if we have these biases towards certain cultures or religions or socio-economic groups. It's kind of like a domino effect. You can't create a safe space if it's not open for everyone. And so a lot of these personal biases should definitely be addressed in the sense that we need to identify where they come from, why they're there, and are they true? And a lot of the times they're not, especially if they're coming from stereotypes or perpetuated notions of certain ethnic or any kind of social group, really.